Hello and welcome to Gamereactor Live. We are back again, and today we are going to talk about Gamescom. As you might know, that's the big games convention happening in Germany next week.
Actually, the biggest in the world. If you count like how many people and all that stuff, it's becoming really big. So that's one of the highlights of the year.
I think we are going to start off with talking a bit about Call of Duty.
Yes. Let's say we're also joined. We're of course here in the studio. We're also joined on through the magic wires of the interwebs.
Exactly.
By Bengt Lemne and Gillen McAllister.
And they're going to be saying all the clever words here because we're just here like mannequins.
So no pressure, Bengt. You need to be the clever guy.
Exactly. Well, back to
always.
So we talked about doing this in the order sort of that it's going to happen. That was the idea, right, Bengt?
Yeah. I think that's the easiest way to sort of keep track of things and the different events that lead up to Gamescom proper. So.
And since you're the clever one, we're going by that.
Yeah. Let's not change it now. I think the guys behind the scenes would be kind of upset.
So I think I'm going to start. I'm
going
to be trying to run some trailers as well. So if I'm looking not like
tune in on August 11th.
That might be why. Anyway, the first thing that's going to happen is a Call of Duty event. So I'm traveling to Amsterdam and to Germany a little bit early to see some Call of Duty things, the new game, and we've also had a competition going. So congratulations to the winners of that. We have 4 people coming through winning a competition with Gamereactor on this trip with me, and we're going to check out Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Can I take a moment to complain about the generic title?
Yeah.
It's stupid. Advanced Warfare. Could it be more generic, really?
It is.
Not even if they try.
It's both stupid and really smart, because the reason they've done this, right?
Oh yeah.
It's because it reminds you of Modern Warfare, of course. So.
And Advanced Warfighter as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's there, Gillen. Welcome to the show as well.
Well, when you're interviewing Sledgehammer and that's the thing you've got in your head all the way through the interview, do not call it Advanced Warfighter. It sort of comes out.
But yeah, so that's the way it's going to start out the week for us. Call of Duty, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have to show. Of course, we had a lot of story campaign stuff at E3, and now it's time to see the multiplayer, which is what, for some of us, like me,
I think most people
is like the main thing. That's where you spend most of your time. I still enjoy the single player, but this is where you really see stuff. And for that, I actually want to show a clip. We're going to talk more Advanced Warfare later, but let's see if I can. I'm going to do this and see if I can find this. So we had the story trailer earlier, but at the end of that, we had some multiplayer showing off, which is one of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing. As you see here, this is a clip from multiplayer, a little bit Titanfall-ish, jetpacks, and
a little bit,
and Destiny as well, I guess, is going that direction. And you actually get to see like a lot here, I think. So for people who want to check it out, you can see some guns in the kill feed. You can see the lethals, grenades, the gun. It looks like a San Francisco level. Very excited to see more of this. I guess I'm the only one here who's really
super hyped.
Who's pausing trailers to see?
Yeah, exactly. Saying it is.
It is. So.
But it is nice to sort of see them change it up a bit more than they have in the past. So this one feels like a proper reboot or spin-off or whatever you will. It's not just another yearly update. So that's interesting.
I wanted to find something
Nick,
else
I have to ask,
as well.
given that you are the Call of Duty player amongst Gamereactor, what do you actually want to see? Is there any highlight or headline you want to see for multiplayer
I'm
this
trying
year?
actually to find something now that I think we talked about at E3, Gillen, was that one of the things that happens in this trailer is, I'm just going to give up and let it roll. But one of the things that happened in the story trailer is you see a guy take a door off a car and use it as a shield.
Yeah.
I want to see if things like that is in the multiplayer. because that could be very cool. Maybe for competitive, it'll not work completely, but for normal public multiplayer, I think that's one of the things that could be cool with the jetpacks and different ways of using the exoskeleton, which is the new thing in this. Just like Black Ops 2, this is sort of future things with a lot of gadgets, a lot of gear, unlike the Modern Warfare, which was more like present day stuff. So to see how they use the exoskeleton for multiplayer, I'm really excited to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the question is then saying about I know we're obviously talking about Gamescom as a whole, and we don't want to get into a massive Call of Duty conversation, which I'm sure Nick would absolutely love. But just sort of quickly touching upon the jetpack thing, do you think integrating jetpacks in the multiplayer component would change that so dynamically that it might cause a bit of a shitstorm with the hardcore Call of Duty players, or do you think they're ready for something new to get their teeth
Actually,
into?
for me, I was not happy when we saw that this was going to go into the future. I liked Modern Warfare, I liked the present day stuff, and I'm worried that it's going to be too much like Destiny, too much like Titanfall. But generally, the competitive community are very excited for Sledgehammer to do a game. Before Infinity Ward was like the primary studio, Treyarch was the ones who were trying to keep up, and that has sort of flipped with Ghost, where a lot of people were not really happy with Ghost, and I think that's a situation we've had with several games that were the first out on the next-gen consoles, that they were trying to make the game for both generations, and that has hurt it. So I don't think it's as much an Infinity Ward problem, and now we've recently had a couple of Naughty Dog devs join Infinity Ward, so I think they'll do fine in the future. But generally, the competitive community are very, very excited for this, and they seem excited for what will happen with the jetpacks and the exoskeletons. Because in general, the Ghost was a letdown, especially competitive Call of Duty, where Black Ops 2 really propelled Call of Duty into being a viable competitive esport game.
But again, I mean, a shitstorm will always happen whenever you make changes to a game, even if it's for the better, because people prefer to have what they know, especially in a series like this. But I'm looking forward to this. I think it could sort of boost my enthusiasm.
Well, this would be a good time to plug. This would be a good time to plug the fact that we will actually be streaming the multiplayer event on Gamereactor from 6 p.m. GMT, 7 o'clock German time. Is that correct? On Monday?
I think it's 6 o'clock German time, right?
6 o'clock.
Is it?
I'm actually not sure, but
I'll have to double check a email I got earlier today about that. There was a correction with Activision because I think they got the timing slightly wrong. Give me 2 seconds
the wonder
here.
of time zones. I will say, I think it's very cool that we'll get Call of Duty into a 3-studio loop, because it's put a lot of pressure on each studio to have them do a game every other year. And that Ghost was a disappointment. Also, people will probably be more positive towards this new game.
Speaking of, are you experiencing any lag on the PS4 version, like random lag? Because one of our users here is writing that he's hoping the new Call of Duty won't have the random lag on the PS4 as Ghost.
I haven't experienced, but there's recently been a bomb glitch where you can't plant the bomb and stuff, so there has been problems. Did you look it up, Gillen?
Yeah, it is. It's 7 o'clock German time, so 6 p.m. GMT for us here in the UK, but 7 o'clock for Germans. So but that'll be on Gamereactor then. So
I don't know if we can promise that Nick will have edited an interview by then, but hopefully Monday night or Tuesday sometime we'll have that interview up on multiplayer. What do you think, Nick?
Oh yeah, I'll try. Also, I found the door. Here it is. But yeah, I'll try to do a lot of stuff from the Call of Duty trip. There seems to be a lot planned, so I'll try to do a lot of updates and try to get the interview up early. So if you're into Call of Duty, be sure to check the site early in the week.
Yeah.
All right. As much as I want to talk Call of Duty for an hour, maybe we should move on to the.
Another thing is actually remember to type Gamereactor and /DRTV for the news trailers. I mean, sometimes we don't get them on the front page, as early as you guys get them on the GRTV backend. So you might want to do that.
There will be a lot of trailers next week.
There will.
All right. So let's see if I can control this madness. So next thing is Xbox.
Yes.
And hopefully Sunset Overdrive.
That will be one of them, yeah. So what do we have to say about Xbox?
Yeah, if it's not there, I would be very worried.
If what?
That's not a good sign if it's not on the conference. Let's not talk about delays, right?
No.
That's not,
No, we're not going to
the topic
mention,
today.
sitting here waiting forever at all.
All right, so this...
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft, I don't know if they had a press conference last year, maybe they did, but they've usually not had the big, they're not brought out the big guns for Gamescom. It's usually been, Sony have been kind of unrivaled with their press conference, so it's going to be interesting to see, because they have some making up to do in Europe, I think, Xbox, and we do have information, or sort of heard that there might be an announcement of the bigger kind, no idea what it is, but something should be announced there, and I'm sure there's going to be announcements about the European market specifically moving forward as well. And there could be several announcements as well. We don't really know that, but I certainly think that Microsoft are putting a little bit of a higher profile on their Gamescom this year than they have in the past. So. Even from the U.S. Side of things, they're gonna treat it as a big event, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
I think the press conference is at 2:00 local time on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I have as well. Yeah, 2:00
Yeah.
Central European time. Yeah, it does seem to be getting bigger games. I've been to Microsoft events the other years, but I think you might be right. It wasn't like actual press conferences, but it seems to be growing Gamescom, so that's cool.
I mean, originally, like I've been on this convention ever since it was Games Convention in Leipzig, and originally it was a lot of these press conferences were handled by the German branch. So Nintendo had their press conference, but it was really only about the German stuff. It was in German even. So, they come a long way since then, and now it's more of this sort of more of a global event that they're treating it as, and then it's going bigger. Sony have sort of, as far as I can remember back, they've treated it as such, and really made a lot of major announcements at Gamescom. So, but that's for later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But what do you think, Gillen? What do you expect to see at Microsoft?
Well, you said about delays there, but I think that is overshadowing a lot of the excitement, especially for this winter. Whilst obviously this will be a continuation of Microsoft and Sony's plans that came out of E3, maybe a clarification, yes, as we said, on one or two titles we didn't know about until maybe a week ago. I think it's very much a thing of they need to pull something out of the bag, really. For Europe, yes, certainly with the situation that it is at the moment, but also because looking at the release schedule for the next few months, this side of Christmas, really the heavy hitters from Microsoft anyway, certainly their most important IP is Sunset Overdrive and is the Master Chief Halo, the Halo collection. So you've basically got one very unique IP that looks interesting and definitely is dynamic and different from the usual sort of brown-coloured shooters out there. But the other thing is, as much as I am a Halo fan, is basically a remake of previous Halo games all bundled together. I just think that we need to sort of pull something out and go, hang on, look, we have got stuff coming, and we're not talking about stuff coming this time next year. So hopefully a bit more clarification on a more concrete lineup for the months ahead.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, they got Forza Horizon 2 as well, and they got some digital stuff like Dance Central coming, but it is a little bit nothing too big. I would like to see a date for Fable Legends, for instance. That would be nice to have that. I assume that it's going to come out first quarter next year or something like that, but it would be nice to have a date to sort of gun for, and also to know when the beta is launching, because it's supposed to launch this year. Would be nice to get a beta date for Evolve as well. Yes, recently delayed, but they did announce that a beta is coming to Xbox One prior to release at E3, and hopefully they'll stick to that, and we'll see a beta on Xbox One sometime late in the year.
Do you realize if Valve comes out next February, say, that's going to be a crazy month. You're going to have that, Witcher, and if again rumors are true, Batman as well.
And the Order 1886 as well.
Dying Light is coming then as well.
February is going to be crazy.
2015 in general is
second
going to be a
Christmas.
blockbuster year.
But it's true, a lot of games who were coming out this fall has been moved to February alone. So that's it's good.
But I think there's going to be the sort of the aftermath of that's going to be some other games are going to be pushed a little bit further as well, because you don't need 3 big titles in February from a publisher. So there's going to be a knock-on effect of these delays, I'm sure.
All right, Lee was saying before about Sunset Overdrive, so let's talk about that a little bit.
I mean, it looks like sort of a mix between Ratchet and Clank and Dead Rising.
Yeah,
I think, and it's got so many colors. I really like that. I miss it. I miss a lot of colorful games. Really. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, I haven't really got much of a clue about the gameplay in this one, so I'm hoping to see more from.
Yeah, I got to try it at E3, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It does have, as you say, Ratchet, and also what's in Resistance is, and general Insomniac games, all the crazy guns, which is really fun. So yeah, I got to play the multiplayer part. You played it as well, right, Bengt?
Yeah, I played both the co-op multiplayer and the single player. I'm interested to see just how it all ties together, like the structure of the game, because it's described as sort of an open world thing, Dead Rising style, and even the co-op stuff is going to be sort of happening inside of that world. It's sort of you invite people in and then play this Chaos Squads, I think it's called. It's a fairly sort of it's not a shooter in the sense of say a Call of Duty or something like that. It's much more casual and just so in that sense it sort of reminds you more of playing Dead Rising and using a gun in Dead Rising than anything else. But I think the big difference here is the way that you move and the fact that you're probably gonna want to keep up and moving at all times. Don't really want to go around on the ground killing people in a traditional way, because you're just going to get overrun.
And also they said that your multiplier, it's all about points. It's going to stop if you stop. It continues as long as you shoot monsters, or as long as you grind or something like that. So it's really about keep moving. And I agree about the shooting. It's much more Ratchet and Clank shooting than Resistance shooting.
Yeah, I think it's more true for the multiplayer. I'm not sure that the same dynamic is in there in the single player. I think you can take stock of the situation a little bit more, but certainly the multiplayer is very sort of frantic, chaotic, and you have to keep it up all the time. So I think that mechanic is in there in single player as well, but you don't have.
So I guess it's more story and less points in single player.
Time. Yeah. But it still powers that sort of overcharge thing that you can do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
By the way, got an overcharged energy drink at E3. It tasted pretty good.
You could see yourself getting addicted.
Well, if I get more, I guess, because it was only one drink per person, so I don't think that's enough.
Well, maybe they need to keep that on the lock then.
I would like that in the collector's edition, actually. That would be fun if you got one of those.
Yeah, let's hope they don't shake it post-delivery then.
True. All right, any more to add about Microsoft, or should we move on to...
Quantum Break?
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break, yes.
I think that's a separate one.
I'm really interested in seeing how they managed to shake all this up, with the TV series, or if it's going to be kind of a quick time event kind of game, and you're just ending up playing that and watching an episode of something. I've no clue how they're going to mix this up.
That's it. Succeed in a quick time event, unlock the next 15 minutes of the episode. Just do that over and over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound to me like a game from Remedy. But I have a lot of faith in them as developers, and I'm very interested to see just what it is they've been cooking up, because it's been so vague, so sort of high concept stuff that they've been talking about, and obviously the game has been pushed back a little bit. So I'm very curious to see. This will be sort of the first actual gameplay demo of it, so I'm very interested in seeing that, and just figuring out what the game is actually about.
I think it's a good idea with them being vague as well, because obviously they probably do have a really high concept for this and a really good idea of what they want it to be. And probably been tinkering away all this time trying to work out if they can actually justify what they want to do. So if they're being vague, what happens is if behind closed doors they're having to maybe scale back the project and make it fit with certainly with schedules and stuff like that. So whatever they do present now, it will still be amazing, but it will be great to sort of get into their heads maybe a few months down the way, even after, whenever the game actually finally launches, and to talk to them and say, look, what was the original idea for this and how much do you have to cut out to actually get it in this form? So there's no harm to them for basically showing what they want to show now, because they haven't made that promise, because being vague is a really good thing when you're that early into the development. It's not doing like a Molyneux thing of promising the sky and then, not quite matching that in the reality.
Yeah, well, they actually did that with Alan Wake. Wake, if you can remember, they first showed off an open world, free roaming, sort of physically powered world, or sort of this town that was very impressive, and then they scaled back and went to a sort of level-based adventure game instead, more traditional. So they actually did exactly that with their last game, and of course it turned out well anyway. But yeah, not the same kind of game, and I think they actually scrapped it midway, the idea they had. So, but it's also interesting because of the closure of the Xbox Entertainment division that was just announced, and if that has any impact on what they're actually how it's gonna be structured, and how much of it's gonna be TV series and how much is gonna be game, and that whole thing. We don't really know anything, and we don't really have anything to compare with. But I'm sure that they did say there will have no impact, the spokesperson.
But they need to say that.
If they were involved, it's hard to see them not having any impact. So we'll see.
We will see. All right. Any other Microsoft games that we have missed that we need to talk about?
I will. I'll mention Forza Horizon just briefly, because I did actually play at a post E3 event about a month ago. Really enjoyed what I played. I think I was saying that visually it's maybe not got the same impact that Motorsport 5 has, because obviously it's open world and Motorsport 5 was very much locked on the specific tracks. But there was a nice vibe to it which surprised me. Forza is always a series that I respect highly, but can't really get behind it myself, simply because I'm not that great at trying to play semi-realistic racers. Horizon gave me that vibe though, that felt more actually geared towards almost the Sega Outrun series than perhaps the Turn 10 stuff. And with that in mind, it's actually a title that has now become on my radar, something that I'm actually looking forward to coming out, whereas before it was more of a passive interest. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and certainly it'll be one of the titles I'll be picking up over the winter months. Now that Evolve's not here and I need my multiplayer Jones.
But it definitely feels like an arcade racer, or...
Yeah, I mean, there's that, why Forza's always had that slight lean between the two different disciplines. This leans a little bit more towards the arcade side, but not by a huge amount. I mean, the Outrun comparison's mainly from the visuals, because, like, everywhere you drive, there's something scenic to look at to keep your eyes off the track, But in the handling, it has got that sort of Forza beat to it, where you're not going to be doing massive power slides or anything like that around corners. But it's just got that nice arcadey vibe to it rather than the actual gameplay. But it's something that would make me, and perhaps people from my side of things who like arcade racers as well, pick it up, or at least look into it.
All right. I consider myself quite good at a lot of games, and there are some great stories of me beating Gillen at Halo and everything, but you did actually beat me at Drive Club one year at E3. So let's
Yeah.
Still
move.
remember that.
Let's move on. It actually hurts me. So Gillen says he's not good at racing games. You shouldn't put yourself down too much. You did do quite well there. So with that, let's move to Sony.
Yeah. Well, Sony, I mean, I think as Bengt was saying there earlier on, it's really Sony's Gamescom to lose, really. They've done phenomenal last year, almost doing that as a part 2 to their E3 plans and their E3 announcements, and reception was phenomenal last year. Certainly, as long as they keep on that same direction, I think they'll do absolutely fine. Now, the question is, similar with Microsoft, what real announcements are they going to make, certainly for this winter, this side of Christmas? Because people expected a lot more out this time of year coming up to this Christmas to sort of say, look, here's the reason why I need to be picking up the PS4. Obviously, now I've got Destiny coming out, which is, God, only a few weeks now after Gamescom's coming. But I feel, again, they need an added bite, an added AAA first-party bite to their lineup to say, look,
it's interesting because
as much as I love indie games,
we can sort of guess what's going to happen in a way with Sony. In recent years, what they've done is at E3 they've had the American studios announce their games. They've had Naughty Dog, Radiant Dawn, Sony Santa Monica, and then Gamescom they've had the European studios, Media Molecule, Guerrilla, all the other ones, Cambridge. So.
What do you think of that? The
Yeah.
snowflake thing going in the trailer? I mean, people have been speculating. Is that sort of a talk about the Resident Evil reboot? Is it Blizzard? Is it snow from Blizzard? You know, or is it the Snowdrop engine? Any of you guys have any idea? Put on your tinfoil hat.
No, here. Guesswork is great and everything like that, but I don't want to say anything. My E3 predictions were about 6 out of 10, right? So I don't want to drop that any further to like 4 with Gamescom. So I'll just keep until the conference is finished.
I think what they've done is...
I'm pretty sure if I get to speculate that Media Molecule will show what they're working on PS4. It makes all kinds of sense. You know, they were part of the reveal event that they had in February 2013, and it's just high time that we learn something more about it. I also think it's the kind of game where it needs a bit of sort of a lead up to release. People need to sort of get into it and get excited about it because it's probably something strange. So we need to sort of warm up to the idea, and you know, so it makes sense to announce it now and let us see what it is and sort of form our opinion about it. So. I think that's probably it, but I also think that, you know, they spent about a minute on PS Vita at E3, and if they really want to keep it sort of going, then we need something more to look forward to on the Vita. We need something something interesting, something new.
AAA title for the Vita, definitely.
But I mean,
but it's got a lot of games, and actually,
yes or no, I think that they've sort of moved away from the AAA, so it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but just something that's different and interesting, and something that will get people excited. I'm not sure that bringing out the big franchises on PS Vita that
let's
hasn't
just have
really
Gravity
worked for
Wars
them.
2
So.
and I'll be happy.
Yeah, well, we know that's being developed. They've said that, but yeah, it would be cool if we'll see that. We'll see. Maybe that would make sense to announce at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, I mean, they have announced it sort of with the trailer, but we really need to learn a little bit more about it. Yeah. But yeah, I think that, and I think we talked to Jim Ryan at E3, and he sort of hinted that maybe we'll get some details about PlayStation Now in Europe, if that is going on, and you know, hopefully they can also tell us that those crazy prices in the US won't be be the same over here. PlayStation TV, we might learn something more about that. Like Gillen said, the Sony lineup this fall sort of lacks a little bit. You know, same as could be said of Microsoft, but it's a little bit more. It's a little bit worse for Sony. I feel. You know, Drive Club is not as you know, even if it's a great game, it's not as established as Forza, and Little Big Planet, while you know, a great franchise, it's sort of it doesn't appeal to all categories of PlayStation owners, I think. So they it's a little bit weaker than what I would say on the
That's true,
Xbox
but
One.
I mean,
And then
if they manage to actually simplify the creation part of Little Big Planet, I think they could really have a breakthrough on that one. I think it was a bit too complicated for at least casual players to actually create anything in the original one. And
I think at a Gamescom, it'll probably, the focus will be on the creation part and what they've done there. It's just that, you know, we know what we're getting from Little Big Planet. It's not a big, you know, there's no surprise there. It's got to be a steady, good franchise for Sony to have, but it's not really going to be the sort of the game to sell PlayStation 4s at Christmas in huge amounts. Maybe the momentum they've got will just, you know, make them sell anyway.
I think that's interesting because previous years it's been Sony who's had Uncharted or God of War that sold their machines, where Microsoft used games like Call of Duty for theirs, and it's I would think this season it will be something like Destiny that a lot of people will connect to PlayStation, and that will be the game that people will buy a PlayStation 4 for instead of Little Big Planet and Drive Club.
Destiny is such a weird thing in that regard, because I think, like, if you actually looked at the player base that is on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, percentage-wise, I think there's a much bigger percentage on Xbox One that is interested in Destiny than on PlayStation 4. But of course, the PlayStation 4 has sold much more. But it's, you know, because of Bungie's past, there's certainly the player base on Xbox One. So it's an interesting case study in that sense, because you can see other franchises like Metal Gear and Tekken, they still do much better on PlayStation platforms, even though they've been multi-platform for like a decade or something.
I think it's actually smart, because as you said, like, I think a lot of people who have an Xbox have played, you know, Halo and will be interested in the next game, where for me, I haven't played a lot of Halo, so I maybe wouldn't have been as interested. But now that they're pushing it on PlayStation, has got me more interested in it. So they could get a bigger fan base in that way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge. That game is going to be huge. I mean, just looking at the way the beta blew up is impressive. Yeah.
Well, Nick, are you picking up PS4
Yeah, so
with
I
Destiny?
haven't bought a PS4, or well, now I have, because I pre-ordered the white Destiny bundle, so that will be when I jump in.
Well, there's the thing. I mean, you've always been a Call of Duty player, and I know Halo's never really attracted you. Maybe it was partly because of the control scheme and how it felt and stuff. Now, obviously, from us playing Destiny, that Halo DNA is very much in evidence, even though certain mechanics are new, concepts changed and everything like that. What's it got you sold on this? What's attracted you to this now, to jumping onto this, rather than just sticking with Call of Duty?
I think it's weird because, you know, I didn't have an Xbox, so it's harder to sell you on a game if you have to buy a console for it. Halo never felt right to me. It was too floaty, and there was weapons where you didn't scope in, and I was more to the... and that's the thing with Call of Duty as well. I like that it's present day. The fact that the beta was there and I got to play it actually sold me on Destiny. I had a lot of fun. I wasn't super excited for it. I had nothing against it. It just looked like Halo, and it feels a lot like Halo to me. But I just had fun, and the mix of Borderlands and Halo and the way the single player worked, where I was playing and got joined up like randomly with other people, and the multiplayer, everything. I just had fun, and so it was a great marketing in that way, because you get the game in people's hands, and if they have fun, they're like, oh, I'll buy it. And I was like, okay, perfect time I want to get a PS4 when sort of the fall season starts and all the big games come out. And then, all right, perfect timing to get one early September and get the bundle with Destiny. And I thought the white PS4 looked really awesome, so I was like, all right, let me get that one.
Yeah, for me, I think that the thing that really ties it with Halo in a sense is just how they treat the universe and the world. It's there's so much you can really tell that it's this greater world that's there. You know, this I'd say in terms of gameplay, I don't feel it plays exactly like Halo. but
no, it's somewhere in
you know,
between.
you can
I
certainly
think.
see some of the you know, like the vehicles and stuff like that certainly sort of harkens to Halo, but it's not like they've sort of reskinned Halo and added some sort of MMO component to it. It feels like something
it does have
new
some of the
in that
mechanics
sense.
though. The way it works with the guns and the combination with the grenade, the way you use that is very similar to Halo. And yeah, the knife grenade gun combo is very similar. It's definitely different, but you're not going to be surprised if you've played Halo, like that they have taken what they think
I
worked.
feel like the physics, for instance, feel very different than playing Halo. Like it doesn't have that sort of floaty, jumpy thing. Of course, that's natural given, you know, where you are. But certainly impressed me, and very impressive that they pulled off the beta as well as they did, given the numbers that were on there and everything. The main problem was that PSN went down, I think, for a brief bit there.
PSN went down, Bungie.net went down the same time. So I was lucky enough to get a code just before and actually played a little bit before it was like officially open. And then when it opened, it just crashed everything. Yeah. So that was, I had a much better experience, I think, in the beginning than most people, which is also the thing if you give a game a try, play it for a couple of hours, and it's just a perfect experience. I mean, that's the best way to sell a game to someone.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I was away on holiday over the course of this being released, so I didn't really get any sort of first-hand feedback on this. You guys saying a crash, basically, but how long was that crash for, and when did things get up and running? And when they did get up and running, was there any problems whatsoever with the servers, anything like that? Or did you guys, it was just smooth sailing all the way through?
I actually I think I played it for an hour after, like later in the beta, but I played 90% of the time I played it before it was like open to everyone, and that was a perfect experience. And then I actually got the feeling like, well, I'm gonna buy this game now, so there's no reason to play it more. I want to play it when I can save my progress and play with my friends with the game is out. Like I've seen what I need to see, you know. Give me the game.
I think the problems were the first evening there when they launched it, and it lasted a while, but next day things were fine, and they actually it was only it was sectioned off in like 3 days, and then it was a break for 3 days, but they actually came back a day early because they gotten things fixed, so it launched a little bit early on Xbox and you know, the second time on PlayStation as well. So certainly it looks like they have the sort of the technical stuff in place, and having such a huge number of people come on is also, you know, there's really no way to do the launch pressure that's on the servers. They really got the best stress test you can think of when this happens. So they know how their systems react to this kind of pressure now, and hopefully they can make sure that the launch will be smooth sailing.
It's smart, and it's the same sort of thing they did with Titanfall in the spring, where they do a beta shortly before to sort of stress test the service and see how it runs. I think it's a good way of doing it, and I think it worked great marketing-wise for Titanfall as well. You kind of get hyped, you get a lot of attention that way.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, next one. Let's see, what are we going to look at next? We covered,
Uncharted?
I think the next, I guess we got more PlayStation.
Yeah,
Uncharted
well,
is...
Uncharted,
I don't
Uncharted,
think we're
maybe
going to
No
see
Man's
Uncharted
Sky,
at Gamescom.
I think there's a lot of
Let's look at
things.
Uncharted. I actually, the other day I mentioned, or I did again to Dory, this is, for me, almost looks too good now. Like, it sort of doesn't look like Drake. This trailer. We'll see when it starts. But yeah, obviously, I'm super excited for Uncharted, so I'm just going to let you talk instead. Who has something to say about Uncharted?
So if I say I was a bit disappointed with the third installment, I'm guessing you want to take over again.
No, I actually was. I think the second one is the peak of that
They
series.
will not let you leave.
Like this, let's look at this guy. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's a lot to take in.
But we don't think we're gonna see anything from Uncharted at Gamescom, do we?
Nah.
No, probably not. It's too early.
I'm pretty sure we're not gonna see it until next year now. Maybe at the Video Game Awards, they'll show something. Maybe a gameplay, like a premiere of the gameplay there. But it's probably late next year.
Yeah, they said
it's gonna come
2015,
out, so.
and I'm sure it's going to be like November. That's the usual release date, and that would make sense time-wise, if it's not getting pushed.
I don't really have an option here.
I will play this one. I tried, much as I tried loving the Uncharted series before, I played a bit of Uncharted 2, and the cover system just felt too soft to me. I couldn't really get into it. But I mean,
all right, let's cut Gillen off.
Look at The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done some tremendous work on that one, and I actually like the gameplay.
Well, this is what I'm
there.
saying. The fact is that with The Last of Us, I loved to death, and I thought that felt perfect. Now, I was just going to bring a small comparison in. The fact is, it was a similar set of circumstances with Red Dead and GTA 5. GTA 4, I wasn't too... It was alright, but again, cover systems and stuff like that, I just didn't feel fluid, didn't feel like a nice flow through the world. Red Dead, loved the bits, and I felt like Rockstar basically took the best parts of that and implemented it into GTA 5, and that's why I love that game so much, and I'm thinking it'll be the same thing with The Last of Us to Uncharted.
That is a great
where
point.
Those gradual improvements will just... That'll make it a game I will sit down and I will burn through it so quick.
Yeah, great point. All right, let's talk.
I certainly hope that they maintain sort of the differences between the franchises. I can see
but they
that
could learn
sort of the
from the other
mechanics have progressed. I can see that the mechanics have progressed, but I still feel like that Uncharted should be something that's a little bit, lighthearted.
And it is
sort of
actually
there.
recently. I think it was Evan Wells who came out on Twitter and said they're going to learn from the mechanics, but not the mood. The mood is going to be lighthearted.
Where do I even start?
So they have officially addressed that as well. They want to. He said something like he actually think it strengthened their studio and their games that they kept it as two very different franchises.
Sully, I know the risks.
Yeah, but I also learned that our favorite level designer has left Naughty Dog for Infinity Ward.
I think he's my favorite dev
was
to
a great
talk to ever. Like the interviews we've done with him is so brilliant. Him and another guy, it's true, has left Naughty Dog and has moved to Infinity Ward, which I'm really excited for the next Call of Duty from them in 3 years or when it's going to be. That's taking two top guys from Naughty Dog to create Call of Duty. That's going to be good stuff.
Yeah, and he's I think he was named development director or something like that. So it's really a top position now that he's getting. Probably something that's very difficult to attain at Naughty Dog because there's people sort of in the way there. It's already in those kind of positions. So and that's something that when we talk about the sort of the exodus from Naughty Dog, because there has been a number of high-profile departures now. It's also that these are individuals and they have to look towards their own career. It's not like playing for a football club or something like that where you're sort of loyal to the team or anything like that. You sort if you're locked in a career path where you can't really achieve the things you want to achieve in your career, maybe you're better off moving on, and that's how you actually get paid what you're worth in this industry.
I think it's also a good way of getting new ideas and fresh things and innovate is that you move around and work with different people. And let's see what you can do there now.
Bengt is writing here, want to see an Uncharted game where it's set in a huge open world where you can backtrack to side missions, etc. I don't think that's...
No, I wouldn't want that. I think that's not the strength of Uncharted. The strength of Uncharted is the cinematic,
the feeling of going to the movie.
Yeah, but I know, I would get back to Jakob Minkoff, who is one of the two devs who left Naughty Dog. He basically did the best level in each Uncharted, which has been super fun interviewing him. He did the train level in Uncharted 2, and I think it was the ship level, right, Bengt? He did Uncharted 3, so that's really cool. Yeah, let's move on to next. What else do we have?
No Man's Sky? Well, it's not an exclusive, but...
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure that's going to get... We're probably going to see a little bit more of the actual gameplay at Gamescom and learn a little bit more about about that part of the game, because it's been all sort of vision, all sort of concept so far, which has been amazing. But let's see what's actually there for the players to do when you're in this amazing world.
Yeah, that's true. Bloodborne, I think we should take that
All right,
one
let's do
because
that.
we are
Let's do that
kind of running
quickly.
out of time. If,
All right, what do you have to say about Bloodborne, Lee?
well, it's from software.
Yeah.
It's that's enough, isn't it? We know it's going to be bloody hard and hoping for the best. But
Sounds like you're getting depressed, please.
no. I'm looking forward to this. But I still have no clue if it's going to live up to my expectations. And basically, I'm afraid I just want more Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And,
but it sounds very similar.
It does.
I think it's similar. I mean, certainly when you look at it, it's sort of like they reskinned Dark Souls, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think
Not at all.
I think that sort of concept in a different setting in a different world can sort of be very interesting. So what I saw of it, I only saw like a brief glimpse at E3 was, looked very much like Dark Souls.
Yeah, and they have the similar like soul sort of system and all that.
Yeah.
All right, but actually we're a bit pressed for time. This is going to be awesome, but let's move on to Ubisoft.
Nintendo, perhaps?
Let's do Ubisoft first, because they are, if we do it in the order of the events we're going to do. So what are you guys excited for about Ubisoft? I guess what's coming up on the screen now.
Actually, Ubisoft don't really have an event. I think the next event is going to be EA. That's on Wednesday morning. But let's talk about Ubisoft anyway, because they certainly have a huge presence at Gamescom.
So what are you looking most forward to, Bengt? Far Cry 4 or Rainbow Six Siege or another Assassin's Creed?
I'm not sure they're gonna have Rainbow Six at Gamescom. It didn't sound like it from the press release. I think they may be. I mean, it's a 2015 game, so maybe they're not ready to show anything. I think their focus is going to be on Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, The Division, and The Crew.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly very excited about Unity. I think that is probably one of the games that I'm most looking forward to playing at Gamescom this year, just to see what it's the new stealth system,
because
how that plays out,
and it's going to be hands-on Unity. Okay.
Yeah, behind closed doors, I think it is. But I don't think it's going to be in the.
No,
I
don't.
Actually.
I think no. Far Cry is going to be first time, like for public, and I think you're right. Unity is going to be behind closed doors.
Is it the fact that it's actually developed for the current gen or the multiplayer? Or what makes you want to see more of Unity?
Well, actually, it's first of all, it's time period that excites me, and I also think that the fact that they're actually revamping the mechanics and the gameplay systems for the first time since forever. The basis of Assassin's Creed has been in place ever since the first game, and Black Flag was very different because it didn't involve as much climbing and city scaling as the others, but I'm excited to see just how that changes the whole sort of the whole gameplay flow of when you're in the big cities and you're doing your assassin stuff. You're climbing around, you're sneaking around, and
walking into buildings.
To me, that's the big promise, that they're switching those things around a lot. But I'm also interested to see Rogue, because I mean that was just announced, and
sounds a bit like Black Flag.
Like the continuation of Black Flags as a much
at the end of a trilogy, right?
Let's basically just use the template we've got there and just build somewhere new. For myself, now I've never really been a huge fan. Well, when I say not a huge fan, just the historical representation of Assassin's Creed have never really interested me beyond perhaps the first one. But I like the idea of this basically being it's a rogue assassin who's now went over to the Templars. I mean, It was nice to see at the start of Assassin's Creed 3, and spoilers, but sorry if you haven't played it yet, you should have played it by now. That the idea that you actually start off playing as a Templar, even though you don't know it until late on in the game. Whereas this is, again, the flip side of, okay, guy used to be an assassin, goes over to the Templars, and then it's basically the assassins hunting him down. So from a story point of view, it's of more interest to me, and as a big fan of the sailing aspect in Black Flag as well, more of that is good, fine by me. Though I get you, the Unity stuff looks interesting as well, and I think that's a valid point that, yeah, the Assassin's Creed mechanics have been exactly the same all this time, and they're feeling so rigid and archaic, they really needed a change. Now, by the sounds of it, they're not going wholehearted with this, they're not going the whole way. This sounds like a halfway house between the old mechanics and a few little tweaks here and there to make it feel a little bit distinct, a little bit different. I would have loved if they went into the new gen version going, right, we're starting from the ground up now, we're going to redesign this entirely, but any change is good as far as I'm aware with Assassin's Creed, so looking forward to both of them.
Yeah, yeah. Should we move on to EA then, perhaps?
Yeah, 9 minutes on the clock, yes we shall.
Yeah. I mean, EA, they have usually they had a press conference actually the day before, but this year they're going on the show floor at 9 or 10 o'clock, I think, Wednesday, so right when we begin our job there. The big thing, obviously, is the new Bioware game, and I'm very excited about this. There's been 3 teasers, I think. Are you rolling them, Nick?
I am trying to find it here. Let me see. It's going to be rolling a little bit. You just keep talking.
Yeah, exactly. You've been chosen, and I seriously don't think that that's going to be the title of the game.
Might have trademarked some other name, right?
Yeah, I think there was some mention of Shadow Realms in a mail that they sent out. Like the name of the image was like Shadow Realms teaser or something. So I think that sounds very much like a Bioware title. Yeah, and I don't really care what it's called. It's just nice to see Bioware delving into something a little bit different, something a little bit new. And I'm excited about that, and I'm very interested to see what they're doing. And this is really the A team at Bioware. It's Casey Hudson and those guys doing it. So, yeah, very excited about it.
All right, and then we'll have the usual EA games as well, I guess. FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA. Yeah. I would have assumed that Battlefield Hardline would have gotten its single-player campaign reveal at Gamescom. I don't know with the delay that they'll do that, but I think they may do that anyway. That they'll show off the single-player and let us in on what.
Yeah,
what
they might
entails.
also already have done like the whole plan for what they were going to show and done that demo and all that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So that may very well be there. I think they're going to spend time on The Sims 4 and on Dragon Age. So, I mean, you could speculate maybe they'll show a little bit more of the Criterion game and Star Wars Battlefront, but I don't think they're going to stack.
No, I don't think so. I think that's too soon.
Deep. No, I think that, and it's also like if you show off a new Bioware game, you don't really have to show anything else. That's plenty.
That's true. But I mean, compared to the E3 presentation, I was so disappointed watching that one. So I mean, if they just show this, I'll be happy.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to be sort of honest and say that we haven't done much on a game at E3. That's not what we want. That's not sexy. And they did that like over and over.
And if they had stuff ready for now at Gamescom, I think they would have made that ready for E3. Some of it. It seems weird to basically be at E3 like we don't have anything ready and then show it at Gamescom instead. But we'll see. Maybe there will be a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, they had like a theme going at E3. It's just that it was kind of a stupid theme and it made them look bad.
I think we need to move on because we have
Should we get to Nintendo?
Yes.
Nintendo don't really. They don't. I mean, they treat Gamescom pretty much like a local show. There's not going to be a ton of announcements or new things there. So it's not really. I don't want to say that it's uninteresting because they have a lot of interesting games there still. But but you're not going to see news of new Nintendo titles coming out of it. There's not going to be a Nintendo Direct. There's not going to be anything like that.
I'll be happy if there's anything with the
don't get your
Legend of
hopes
Zelda
up
Wii
too.
U. I mean, that looked amazing in the trailer. In the
But
Nintendo
we're not
Direct.
going to see anything new at Gamescom. I would be completely flabbergasted if that was the case.
Might be.
They don't have a press conference, and I don't think we're going to see anything of that. I think what we could hope for maybe is
Third party.
the release date for Smash Bros. But I don't even think we're going to get that because I think that's going to be a Nintendo Direct. So, yeah. And a lot of publishers treat Gamescom sort of similar to this. They don't really bring out big announcements for the show. But some of the German publishers obviously are going to have some announcements. I know that Paradox are going to have a new game. Is there anything else that we can talk about? I know a couple of other big publishers that have announcements, but that we may not be able to talk about yet. We don't really know what they
I have
either.
another trailer here that you
I think
might want to
it's
talk about. It's called Indie Mega Booth.
Yes. Yes, the indies are coming to Gamescom this year. I think they were there last year as well, some sort of indie booth, but it's much bigger scale this year, and that's nice to see. The Indie Mega Booth is going to be there in Hall 10 this year. I think Hall 10 was the one we were in last year. Is that right?
I'm gonna
Is that one
trust
of
you
the
on that.
bigger
You're
halls?
gonna be the clever guy on the stream, right?
Yeah. But yeah, if you're running the trailer, there's like 30 or
34
so
games, yeah.
developers with indie
34
titles, mainly out of Europe, I think, but some people from elsewhere, like Below is coming. Capybara's new lovely looking game, and Gamescom can be a little bit like, oh, there's a lot of mobile, there's a lot of free to play, there's a lot of online stuff that sort of feels a little bit like they're trying to sell you something even on the show floor. So it's nice to have that sort of indie flavor to counterbalance that a little bit at the show. So it's not that in your face, trying to sell you something or throw you a t-shirt or whatever goes on.
I'd be happy to get a t-shirt.
Just check out something with Below, and if you get a t-shirt, you know where to send it.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
All right, are we gonna end on any sort of prediction, or what are you most looking forward to, or something? Or have we forgot anything? Also, people in the chat, let us know if there's something we forgot. We didn't really talk about Until Dawn, Sony's thing, but maybe we'll get more on that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they announced it a couple of years ago for PlayStation Move on PlayStation 3. Rumor is that it's gonna be something else now, and but I mean it's one of those sort of camp horror things. I think it'd be nice to sort of show us where it's at. It's been sort of rumored that it's coming back at this Gamescom. We'll see if it happens or not. I'm kind of interested to see that, just to see where that concept is gone.
All right.
But well, our hour's up, so we
Yeah.
just managed in time. That's
Are we,
amazing.
let's end it on what's your main thing what are you most looking forward to, Bengt, at Gamescom? What's the one game or one thing you're most excited to see?
Oh my God, this is like the $1 million question. I am very excited about playing Assassin's Creed Unity. I gotta say that that excites me. Otherwise, I mean, typically for me, the big new announcements, the things that I haven't seen before, is what really drives me in these kind of events. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Sony and Microsoft have hidden up their sleeves. So that's really the main focus for me.
Yeah.
I
And
want to see more from You've Been Chosen.
You've Been
I just
Chosen?
want to
Okay,
see
the
anything.
BioWare thing, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
all right, and Gillen?
I just have to split it between two. One, Alien Isolation, because as I understand it, we're seeing a far bigger chunk of gameplay than we have previously. So all the gameplay is being stuck to like little 5-minute, 10-minute one-on-ones with the alien. We're going to see a bit more of the world, which I think is very important given how close the game's coming out. Aside from that, another game that newly announced, obviously, we know about already, which is Arkham Knight. Simply, I managed to squeeze in at the end of E3 to see one of the gameplay demos of it. Looked great, but didn't get hands-on with it myself, so I'm hoping to change that at Gamescom.
All right, and I'm gonna of course say Call of Duty or any crazy like new announcement, of course. But yeah, Call of Duty.
Yes.
Excited for the event. And with that, let's end with saying
remember we have a booth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We have a booth. We're going to be live streaming there. If you are at Gamescom, come find us. We'll have our magazines and there'll be stuff going on. If not, remember to check the sites. As I said, we'll be live streaming. There will be news. There will be trailers, previews going up. A lot of coverage, so be sure to check that out. Anything we have forgotten?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you beautiful gentlemen next week in Germany. For everyone else, thanks for watching and stay tuned.
Save me a currywurst.
What? Yeah, currywurst.
Save me a currywurst.
All right, so we're going to end with a booth tour from last year. And yeah, so bye and stay tuned. And
see you later.
Alright guys, we're here at the studio, and given you've been watching us on the live stream a few times now, you might like to know what the atmosphere here is really like, because it looks like a very warm, cozy studio. These aren't my co-presenters, as you can see. Just a couple of random guys talking and stuff like that, so I'll show you why. Because, in fact, we've sort of opened up the booth somewhat, because behind the studio, or in front of the studio, should we say, we have this. Welcome to Gamescom. Check it. Just pointing out a few things. We got the beautiful, wonderful advertising brand Gamereactor here with our smart TV, with our iOS, with our Android, and with our print magazine, because we always like pushing all the things we do. But you got a booth you want people to see, sit, talk, have a good time. Nothing says that better than some retro console action. So we got the original. Well, I was going to say the original Super Mario, but they've changed it since I was here last. But we do have Mario Kart 64 as well. My personal favorite, however, is right round here. I've been playing on iPhone. Everybody that knows me knows how much I love this game. We've got the original Crazy Taxi with the original soundtrack, the authentic soundtrack here on Dreamcast, and I played it and I sucked. I sucked so bad. It was an embarrassment. People laughed. I cried. It was awful. Because we're here, because we're showing some stuff off, we're giving out print magazines. As you can see, hordes of people grabbing the magazine. I could have cued that a lot better. As I was saying, people were grabbing. Ah, there we go. One person's getting it. That's gone. We started with about 10,000 copies. We're down to, there we go. See, it's going. It's fascinating documentary stuff, this, behind the closed doors. You guys love this. But we're in Hall 10 here. You pan round. We also unfortunately ended up sitting opposite the noisiest booth in this place. And given that we've seen the Ubisoft booth, that will just blow your eardrums out saying something. There's a lot of people just sort of wandering about, milling. It's amazing. We should have actually shot this earlier on before the actual doors opened. We got in an hour early, just get ourselves set up, empty. And then you just hear that little door open. And then you hear a noise, and I swear to God, it's like being in a zombie apocalypse. 28 days later, got nothing on this. We watched the hordes run down the stairs. Some of them tripped, some of them cried, some of them were so excited. We almost died. It was like terrifying thing. But I'd like to sort of point out the one man that has made the live stream possible, the man that has broke his back, broke his heart, broke his soul for the company over the last few days, and is an unsung hero, but also the man whose beard I just love so much. Dory, how you doing, man?
Tired, strung out, stressed, but that's normal for Gamescom, right?
How many Red Bulls you been pumping?
Oh yeah, how many? I mean, I lost count Friday, so which is today. Yeah, I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Okay, so we're already talking, developers say they're stuck in the booths in the business center. They don't get to see anything, all right? They get very cushy surroundings. Dory here, we're going to reinterpret what Dory's been doing the last few days. Dramatic reconstruction. Go and sit down, Dory. There's nothing left here. But Dory's position for the last 3 days has been this.
So here we basically see what I've seen.
Yeah.
Here's what I've been seeing of Gamescom. This is my desk. I had my streaming computer here, which we had some internet problems, but a little bit. But we got it to work eventually. But yeah, this is my little niche of Gamescom right here.
You happy it's over?
Well, I'm happy it's over, but yeah, I'm happy it's over.
We're doing this next year?
Oh yeah, for sure. And next year we'll do it bigger and better.
And what shape will your beard be in?
Well, I'm not going to touch it with a shaver until then, so...
Man, her, gorgeous. Cheers, dude. All right, well, I mean, that's about us. Just to give you a little overview of what's been going on outside the studio at Gamescom. As you can hear, it's really, really noisy. That's why I'm screaming. If they fix this in post-production and it just seems like I'm a really raving lunatic and it's silent around me, that's lies, that's lies. Look at these crowds of people. I'm going to try and get someone to wave at me just because I can't do it. Look. Wave. There we go. And that is us from Gamescom behind the scenes. Have a good one.